All right, what is going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another episode of the Kingdom Says. I am your host, as always, Garrett Williams. Tonight, I am joined by two lovely gentlemen on the screen with me. At the top right, we've got Kyle Henning. How we doing tonight, Kyle?
Oh, doing all right. Doing this on a little different night. So Fridays I usually don't have quite as long a day as I'm having today, but how it goes.
Here
With the
we are.
game
Yeah,
slid to Monday, so we're doing this on a Saturday. Give you guys a little singleized content for the evening because I think it's probably just us doing stuff tonight. A lot of people do stuff on the other nights, on Friday nights and whatnot, but
that's true.
we're all on our own, so we're going to talk some Chiefs
Oh,
and Jaguars.
yes, sir. We definitely are. Also joining us, Mr. Thomas Pike, Arrowhead Tom. How you doing tonight, Tom?
I'm doing well in a little bit of a different venue.
Heart's unknown right now.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm house sitting for my buddy Chris, hanging out with his dogs, and just finished my midterm on my fancy new laptop. So if I look different and sound different, that's why we're
That's
chilling on
why.
the couch. And been a busy week. I'm ready for some football. We of course have to wait an extra day, which is part of the reason why we're going live today instead of Friday. But hey, glad that we're here.
Yeah. Glad to have everyone here tonight, Saturday night. Talking about another exciting week of Chiefs football, as it always is during the regular season. Because it seems like the Chiefs might be good again. We'll see. It seems like the Chiefs might be a competent Super Bowl contending team again. They're not dead. They're not going to miss the playoffs like some people predicted after the first couple weeks. We're still good. We're still in a good spot. Offense is coming back around. Defense is looking sharp. Should be a really fun matchup. Monday Night Football in Jacksonville on the road, wearing the all white uniforms. That's always huge. Shout out Randy checking in from a beach somewhere, out in Cancun.
I
Uh,
thought that said secret mimosa beach, and I was like, all right, Randy, you get
no,
after it. It is Saturday night.
he's just out
Oh,
there,
there's
and
plenty of mimosas on the beach. I just don't know if it's called
Yeah,
sure,
Mimosa
yeah,
Beach,
he's
but it
having a
might
good
as
time
well
out
be.
there.
I mean,
And
it
Joe
might as
Burrow
well.
I'm
and
just mildly jealous that he's in Cancun.
mildly jealous. Yeah, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase's favorite January vacation spot, is Cancun, as they say. So, so yeah, it should be a great.
Listen,
I
I
got
love it
Kyle
when we
now.
get to take a shot at the other team from Ohio. It always makes me happy.
Yeah, exactly. It's a crazy world right now that with the stuff in Ohio. So, but yeah, we're here. We're here to talk about the old Chiefs football going against the Jags. Like I said, I already said that. So let's dive right into it. There's not obviously this one doesn't seem like as big of storyline week for the Chiefs. It's been kind of a quiet week. Besides, obviously, the biggest Chiefs related announcement this week would being Taylor Swift's new album, which is pretty great. Life of a Showgirl, with half the songs talking about our Chiefs tight end, Mr. Travis Kelce himself, getting
I think it's
getting a
I don't
couple.
know, man. It felt like more than half. I think that was about
Yeah, probably even
75%.
more, probably like 75%. Some very passionate songs, some very intimate sounding songs. I tell you what, she that is a lady who is very 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 in love with her man, and that is great to see. It's awesome that
Hmm.
this is reality. It's kind of crazy that Travis Kelce just getting songs written about him, about the biggest pop star in the world, but he deserves it. He deserves it. And I think he might start this first game afterwards with a really big night, as Kelce usually does on these primetime matchups. Seems like he always comes alive, especially during a Monday Night Football like this on the road. Seems like the stars are aligning for Travis Kelce to potentially have a big game. I don't know how you guys are feeling initially about that, or just the album in general. I liked it. I know Tom said he didn't listen to it yet. Kyle, did you listen to the album?
Twice.
Yeah, there we go. I've rewatched. I've replayed it a couple times. There's a couple real.
There were so many things she said in there that I had to go back and make sure I heard correctly the first time I listened to the album twice.
Yeah. There
She's
was some good.
she's quite good at talking without saying
Yeah.
names. There's some
Hmm.
there were some lore things I had to have figured out through our social media friends, the Swifties.
Hmm.
But I once
Hmm.
I got the gist of some of the stuff that was being said, and some of it I caught immediately, like shots at a certain someone who may or
Yeah.
may not be related to Travis. Uh, or formerly related to Travis, I guess.
No, they're not
The
related
way to
to
put
him.
that.
Not related.
Yeah, not related, but
Connected to. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
wrong term.
former connections.
But
Taylor Swift wasn't out here talking
former.
trash about Jason Kelsey. Just
I was about to say, dang, they
No,
actually shouted out.
no.
Yeah.
Actually, looks like Jason was part of the Easter eggs on the New Heights episode. If you saw what the
Turns out there was
interns,
Easter eggs,
Brandon and Jets Jake, put together for their little clip for the album thing.
Hmm.
But no, it's a lot different vibe than several of her more recent albums. She's clearly much happier than she's been recently. Everybody's can't seem to figure out this is a I'm in love pop have fun album versus the poetry reading and musical form like Tortured Poets or maybe a couple of the other recents, which apparently some of the fan base seems to struggle with understanding that artists go in different moods and mindsets when they write albums. There's been a lot of interesting discourse. Wood is obviously it's a
About the
banger, but
environment?
I think banger has multiple entendres there also.
Yeah,
that
that
song
is the
was
one
full
specifically about.
My understanding, it's about like the environment and the importance of redwood
Well,
trees and conserving.
to quote Pat McAfee,
environment.
Wood seems to be about Travis's.
Yeah,
Travis's environment, like in his.
What's the name of the song, Tom?
Wood. It's about trees, isn't it?
Spelled WOOD.
about a certain redwood tree for sure, but not.
It's a redwood tree.
yeah.
I don't know about a whole bunch of them in the wild, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many.
Why
are
would
out
you
there.
want to save one tree?
The most hilarious part is her little movie release portion of the album thing where she like talks about all the songs and whatnot. She said it was about superstitions and basically everyone who's ever watched who's listened to the song was watching that show all burst out laughing. They also apparently played the kid-friendly version in that movie.
Wow.
Which making a kid-friendly version of that song is an achievement in and of itself. Give them credit.
Yeah. Great beat though. I'll tell you what. Very catchy chorus. It's the subject is Travis Kelsey. So,
but I don't know, man. Opalite is an excellent song. Ophelia was really really good.
Banger. Canceled is fire. Shout out Brittany Mahomes.
Canceled is. There's probably a few people involved in there.
Yeah.
I think Blake Lively was also probably a portion of that canceled song.
Yeah.
So
actually romantic a whole diss track on someone.
That was a
XCX or whatever.
That was borderline battle rap in a pop song.
That was pretty funny. The whole diss track. Pretty banging diss track too. I tell you what. So shout out Taylor. Shout out her for just still being the biggest pop star on earth, and now we have a whole new album to celebrate. I think she's probably even gonna. I don't know. I've heard rumors she might drop a deluxe or something as well. We'll see.
I'm sure there'll be extra stuff.
Yeah, there's gonna be some. There's gonna be some extra stuff. She's always doing the extracurriculars with her albums and stuff. So that's very fun. But so yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that gives Travis the magic powers. Overall, looking at the Chiefs,
I know they couldn't tell him nothing in that locker room on Friday.
Oh yeah,
not
walking
thing.
in. Yeah, there was some. The internet did its thing. The internet did do its thing with that one. Walking into the locker room that next day.
The memes and the gifs and everything that have been floating from that have been hilarious.
It's great. It's great. So, looking at the Chiefs' offense as we transition over to the football side of things, even though she mentioned some football things in there too. It's just saying, pledge allegiance to your hands, your team. In her music video, she actually catches a football.
Of his hands.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So transitioning over to the real football side of this game, Chiefs offense going into Jacksonville facing their defense. Obviously, they have a couple studs on their defense. A little bit injured, a little bit banged up, some of those guys. I know Trayvon Walker has been dealing with some injuries over there. Josh Hines Allen has been dealing with some things over there. Which of the two had the
Hines Allen's not listed on the injury report. Trayvon Walker is the one with the weapon attached to his arm.
Yeah, he had wrist surgery or something like this past Friday or Thursday. It was like very recent.
They've already ruled Yasir Abdullah out.
We know him
for this game.
Yeah.
Trayvon was limited Friday. Yeah, he had surgery. He has a very large club on his hand right now. Yeah. That should be interesting to see how that works. They have a ton of guys who were limited all week. On most of that on the offense, other than old friend Eric Murray, who was there with a neck injury playing safety.
Eric Murray's a turn on.
He is a turn on.
Dude, I didn't know he was still in
Crazy
the
that
league
he's
until I
still
saw
hanging
the
We
around.
injury report.
drafted him in like 1998.
Yeah, it should be illegal for anyone who played under
Like-
Bob Sutton to still be playing. Like, come on,
I
that's
was like, what? He's still around? Holy
Yeah.
crap.
that is crazy talk.
Was he a 4th-round pick in the 2012 draft out of Minnesota? Somebody fact check me and see if it's.
I don't think it was
Oh,
20,
God,
2012.
maybe.
No,
2016.
hold on. It was after Andy was here, so maybe it was 13.
2016.
Let's
2016.
see. 2016.
This man's old. That's. It
Pretty
feels
old.
like.
He's 31.
10 years in the 10 years in the league.
I got the school right, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yes, I do
That
believe.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
He was 5th round, 4th round.
4th round. Yeah.
Okay,
Fourth.
so I was off by 2 years. All right, I'll take it.
If I see, yeah, nailed
Who needs to
the.
remember your family members' birthdays when you can remember that Eric Murray was drafted in the 4th round out of the
That's the
university?
more important one to remember. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely take the priority. So yeah, a little bit of banged up people on the Jags defense over there. They got a lot of.
The biggest one is
Trayvon.
Trayvon Walker and how
Yeah.
effective he can be with one hand, essentially.
Right, and that's going to be between him and Josh Hines Allen, they got two pretty good, a really good pass rush. And you also have Eric Armstead up the middle on the defensive line, who's really solid still. They have old friend Colin Saunders on that D line as well.
He's
Hanging
basically only played like 12 snaps, and that was mostly week 1. It's very odd they're not
Yeah.
using him.
They traded for him too, I think, from the Saints, which is weird that they
Mhm.
don't give him more play. I'm sure this game they're probably going to have him active and he'll get an interception or something like he did last time he played us.
Of
So,
course, yeah.
but yeah, obviously their defense also highlighted by one Mr. Travis Hunter, who hasn't really had a ton of impact on that side of the ball or either side of the ball. I guess is what people's complaints or criticisms are, is that he hasn't really had much of an effect on either
Well,
side of the ball, but only being.
They've got him trying to learn both sides, so that
Yeah,
is a lot to
yeah.
ask for a rookie.
Yeah, people coming in and immediately assuming he'd just be a Pro Bowler at both positions is a little crazy. Obviously the Jags spent a good deal, spent a good capital on. He was like the number 2 overall pick, I think, right, and or number 3, one of those two, and
they also have old friend Emmanuel Ogba backing up Trayvon Walker and whatnot.
Yeah. So decent defense for sure. I don't know who their defensive coordinator is. Let me double check that real quick and see if I can find out. Anthony Campanelli.
Not only is Eric Murray still in the league, he was their starting safety. So if he doesn't play, they're either playing Rayon Lane III, Khalil Halasi, or Antonio Johnson.
Antonio Johnson, dog. Yeah, never heard of him, but he's probably a dog.
And then you go to the cornerback room and it's Tyson Campbell, Jordan Lewis, and Travis Hunter. I would, if I'm the Chiefs, I'm testing that secondary.
This seems like a pretty gettable secondary. It feels like overall maybe a pretty gettable defense. Tom, I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's it'll be, of course, not to. I'm excited to see how Josh Simmons continues to hold up. These are really good pass rushers that he's either way, right? Walker's a former number 1 overall pick. Josh Hines Allen just got paid a bunch of money, has been consistent for a long time. He was a top 10 pick. And that's like defensively, they've got, oh goodness, I'm trying not to click over because that sounds like the end of the world when I click with this mic. The cornerback who's solid. Oh goodness. Tyson Campbell, thank you.
Yeah, Tyson Campbell, former first rounder, I believe.
Yes, he was 20th overall in 2019.
No,
he's not on the team. So who cares? No,
33rd overall, 2021. Not actually a first rounder, second round. First pick in the second round.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. So he's not on the Chiefs. Doesn't matter.
The confidence level just 20th overall, 2019.
I was taking a shot. So, their linebackers don't impress me. I think they'll handle the interior of that defensive line. The club conversation on with Walker, some guys use it as an advantage and get away with a lot of stuff because it's one of those gray areas on the football field that, like, depending on the nature of the injury and all that stuff, like there are some times where dudes are better with a club, just because they can kind of use it. They're not supposed to be able to use it as like a weapon and that type of thing, or use it to their advantage, because it's just but they get away with it sometimes. There's a reason why players and coaches are willing to let players play with a club on their hand. Let me tell you, it's not fun getting clubbed with a clubbed hand.
Yeah.
So there's that. We'll see how it.
Some guys don't even need the club on their hand. They just right hook the running back in the face on the 1 yard line and make them fumble.
Yeah, also an option.
49ers guy.
Yeah, also an option apparently.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think again, this should be a good kind of get right game for the offense. Want to continue to run, especially on the interior there. Like you let both those pass rushers like to get upfield and kind of work around. I mean, they both have power to their game, but Hines Allen especially likes to come around the edge. So like you can really work the middle of that defense if you commit to running, right? And that sets up everything else. Obviously, having Xavier Worthy back, very few people can match him. Getting him, keep the same game plan, move him around, get him off the line clean, let him work deep. And of course, the O-line's got to hold up. So, yeah, I mean, I know they're 3-1. The Jaguars don't really scare me. Maybe I'll regret saying that, but if they can work the pass rush and guys can get open, I mean, that might be another piece. This might be a big game for Travis, especially after the game that Worthy had last week. I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on him, and there's still Hollywood. And obviously, we have watched, my gosh, Tyquan Thornton emerge.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I could tell a second round pick out of Baylor. I don't know. My mind's in draft mode. I was watching the prospect earlier. My mind's in draft mode. Shout out to Tony Coleman from Washington. But yeah, I just think should be lots of opportunities to get some stuff on film, to change it up. Should be manageable. Now, of course, when we say that, we'll probably have some weird wonky plays and unnecessary sacks, and it is the Jawan Taylor revenge game, so maybe he'll only have 2 false starts this game. But,
he'll have none. Yeah, maybe he'll follow up his last week's performance and have none again.
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully, right? We give him enough shit about it. So, but yeah, I think we'll again not losing sleep over the Jaguars defense.
Yeah, they're 3-1, like Tom alluded to. They've beaten the Texans, the Panthers, and the injury-led Brock Purdy 49ers. And then they lost to the Jake Browning-led Bengals. Jake Browning put up a lot of points on their defense's head after Joe Burrow went out with that injury that game. So interesting, not the greatest, not the greatest opponents that they've beaten. Not the most intimidating of armed talents they've had to face. I think this is very likely a situation where you can kind of go into the game with the similar game plan as last week, Kyle, and just let it fly with some of those offensive pieces. And you can probably get some numbers. You can probably put up some numbers this game with the offense.
I said it earlier. I think you attack the secondary, but look, the back 7 of this defense is got some question marks. Foyesade Olokun is one of their starting linebackers. Dennis Gardeck is another, with Yasir Abdullah behind him and already ruled out. The other 2 are Devin Lloyd and Ventrell Miller. And guys, Devin Lloyd, not great, Teddy, at several things.
He's got 3 interceptions on the year. That's at least, I think he leads all people.
So that's the one thing about this Jaguars defense. They forced 12 turnovers this year.
Yeah.
They've been turning people over. It's the reason they've been winning games, as a matter of fact. The problem for them is the Chiefs have, I think, 1 turnover.
1 turnover, yeah. It was the one that hit Kelsey's hands and went to Andrew Mukaba's
the other way.
Hands. Yeah.
And so if I'm this offense, I'm looking to take advantage of a linebacker group that probably presents you some mismatch opportunities with Kelsey and Brashard Smith. whoever else you can get matched up on a linebacker at this point. Noah Gray, Robert Tanyan. You pick your poison on that front. If Worthy in motion throws things off on that defense where, they're playing a zone or don't have a corner that's traveling with him, you can create some mismatches against this defense. If they just take care of the football, I don't really see a way that this Jaguars defense is going to do a lot of stopping of this offense. It's mostly about avoiding the self-inflicted wounds. Like I said, I think the best player on this defense, other than the two edges, is Eric Armstead in the middle, and Eric's getting a little older. They also had an answer for him every time they played him in San Francisco when he was in San Francisco. He'll probably get a little. Kingsley will probably see him some, if I were just guessing, based on how they're going to try to attack. But you're right about this defense not really scaring you. Like I said, most of this back seven, the majority of the investment on the Jaguars defense is that front four. It's now the way that they've got their linebackers listed, it's almost like they try to play a 3-4 at points, which would be a terrible idea against the Chiefs. Like I said, I'm looking for mismatches against that linebacking group, and I don't know that they have anybody in the secondary where you're like, yeah, I can line you one-on-one against Tyquan Thornton or Xavier Worthy and have them run with them. And even if Travis Hunter can run with them, I don't know that he's got the coverage and ball skills this early in his career when dealing with guys like that, especially dealing with Xavier Worthy. And he's a complete size mismatch against Tyquan Thornton. Those are problems. Those can create large issues. And with Eric Murray being the starting safety and being on the injury report limited all week with a neck injury, that's not what you want. So there's no injury game statuses for a lot of those. Like Eric Murray doesn't have a game status designation. Neither does most of the rest of that is offensive players. But it's just not a scary defense. Just take care of the football, and I think you're probably going to put 400 yards up on this defense.
There's good shit.
You just talked about Jake Browning turning him into Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
I'm not – as long as they handle the ball, they should be able to kind of do whatever they want. They may not be able to run the ball extremely efficiently because the Jaguars' run defense is a little better than Ravens' run defense or some of the other run defenses they may have seen so far. And that's not really a huge thing because this team doesn't really run the ball all that often, as we've talked about all season. So take advantage of your matchups, take care of the football, and you should pretty much handle this Jaguars defense. And then it just comes down to figuring out what to do with that Jaguars offense, which has been frustrating for Jaguars fans at times this season. So,
yeah, I'm confident in the offense to have a good day against the defense. Obviously, they've trying to get their swagger back. They got it back last week, and I think they're only going to try to continue that type of performance and keep that attitude. Keep the foot on the gas, which is always one of the bigger complaints that we've seen with this team. Is they always take their foot off the gas once they get a little bit of a lead. Last week they did not. Last week they kept pat in after they were well in the lead, and they were still slinging points. So definitely going to be curious to see who the main focus of the offense is. Obviously Xavier Worthy is always going to light guys up, especially in a matchup like this where you don't have a good counter really to him. I mean, this is a team that the defense are really going to have to scheme to figure out how to contain Xavier Worthy. But I'm looking forward to maybe seeing more Brashard Smith. I think that's a guy you have a lot of potential mismatches with him. I think you can abuse that linebacking core and kind of get him the ball a lot more, especially in the passing game, get him a little more integrated in the offense. Obviously, that's something that they've tried to do and tried to keep up with him very early on. They've been giving him the ball more than we've probably ever seen a seventh-round rookie in his type of position, besides when Pacheco came in. But even still, they're treating him a lot more highly as far as like in the passing game, which is a big trait of his, obviously being a former wide receiver. But this feels like a game that they could really unleash some stuff with him get fantasy owners to maybe grasp on some straws with them, be like, oh, this might be a big game. All of a sudden, Rashard Smith might be the next guy in the fantasy world, which is kind of the thing people thought at the beginning of the season. So as he gets more and more reps in this offense, and as the focus shifts away from him and more towards the other speed options, I think you can really open up some fun stuff with him, and just have a different look in that running back room. That obviously we've seen more under center stuff and more normal runs and stuff like that. You maybe give him a couple of those, but really we're looking for more of those like jet sweeps, the screens, the wheel routes, Texas route, angles,
ball in space.
Stuff. Yeah, just get him the ball and give him some space to make guys move. Obviously, he's got really good body control and good feet to him and everything like that. So he's a very promising young player. I'm excited to see what they might unleash with him if they decide to make him a bigger focal point of the offense this week. Which why not? Why not in Jacksonville on Monday night?
Well,
introduce him to the world.
You mentioned the screen game. With those two edge rushers, as Tom mentioned earlier, they like to try to get upfield in a hurry and try to get out and around the edge a lot. That leaves you susceptible to screen plays.
Yeah,
it just does. And if they can create, like I said, create some mismatches, create some ball in space with him kind of plays, much in that same Jerick McKinnon vein, where now, again, not telling you he's Jerick McKinnon. He does not pass block like Jerick McKinnon. I can promise you that.
Yeah, but
there's some of the stuff that he doesn't do. But the rest of the stuff that Jerick was a part of, he can do those things. He showed you last week. He's got that ability to play through contact and body control to navigate some tighter windows, get down the sideline, bounce off guys. He's deceptive, and he's also extremely fast. So he's another piece that at any point when he touches the ball, there's a chance he can take it to the house. That's what you want. The more dangerous you can become, the more weapons you have, the better off you are. And like I said, that screen game, the short passes, the quick angle, just to give him one-on-ones with linebackers and get him in space, create problems. Also, don't be afraid to hand him the ball a few times and let him run.
Yeah, definitely. Just get that man the ball. Give him some more action and let him flourish in this Andy Reid offense.
I think mixing in, I'd love to see some split backfield sets.
That'd be cool.
And some of those like RPO stuff that we do, Check on one side, Smith on the other. The big thing with that, you may see Kareem just for the pass protection piece, but you could, if you can. He doesn't have to even be a great runner, because we saw what he can do in space, and we see that he has, him running the tightrope last week along with sideways. Like he's got some ability, right? He's got some juice to him. I just think you have to be intentional about making the defense stay honest with him and not just treat him as if he's another wide receiver out of the backfield, if that makes sense. Like, you want to say, hey, they might hand it off to this guy and you may have to, play the run on it, especially if you're mixing him into some of those RPO actions.
Yeah.
But you can do a lot there with those, those two back sets, or how you're motioning him in. And I think they do that. They typically have him at a wide receiver, and then they'll motion him in into more of a two back set. I think they've done that a couple times. But yeah, that's a good point. Rashad Smith could be, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I shout out to him because he had a lot of fun last week, and 10 out of 10. I'll take more of that any day of the week.
Yeah. So far, this Chiefs draft class is shaping up to be pretty enjoyable. As we shift over to the defensive side of the ball, there's been a couple rookies over there that have been really impressing. Noel Williams has been a big conversation this past couple weeks just because of his increase of snaps. Especially on the outside, his ball skills have been showing up really good. He's already turning into being a pretty solid corner, and also allowing Trent McDuffie to kick inside, and just the whole defense to be very versatile. But this defense, going against Trevor Lawrence, they've got a couple good weapons on the outside over there. You got I almost called him Gabe Davis for some reason. Brian Thomas is actually his name. You have him. You have, once again, Travis Hunter, who is on that side of the ball as well. But outside of those, really Brian Thomas is kind of their main passing threat. They got Travis Etienne, who is a very good running back. Now there's I would disagree that he's the best running back the Chiefs have faced this year, but some people have believed that. That was a person I'm apparently very familiar with. Nate Taylor, I believe, wrote that.
Really?
Yeah, I saw a quote. I saw a quote from an article saying that ETN might be the
What?
best running back they've faced so far this year. So
What
I
do
don't know. I just don't quite know about that, but very talented still. Obviously very
Yeah, that's a weird
versatile
one.
dude. But overall, I mean, this defense usually has the Jags number. Steve Spagnuolo hasn't lost to the Jaguars since he's been the defensive coordinator here. Actually, I just looked at the records, and the Chiefs have won the last 7 matchups versus the Jaguars going back to 2010. So it seems like we kind of have their number. Seems like we kind of know what's going on. Usually, I remember Chris Jones has been pretty prevalent in a couple of these games, having really good days versus Jacksonville. He always seems to show up really big versus the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is still an okay quarterback. He's still not maybe number one pick, living up to that name, but he's been up and down. He's been up and down for sure, but overall, what are we kind of thinking of this Jags offense? How do we feel? How do we feel about them?
Didn't we have a random? Oh no, never mind. I thought we had a random week 2 loss to the Jaguars at some point in the Andy Reid era, or a week 1 loss. But maybe I'm making that up.
Yeah, only dubs.
Something to keep in mind while talking about this Jaguars offense, their starting left guard is on the injury report with an ankle injury.
Not great.
Let's see here. Their backup left guard, who's also listed as a tackle on the injury report, yet listed as a guard on their depth chart, which, okay. Limited with all week with a knee injury. Their starting right guard, who is also listed as a tackle on the injury report, was limited all week with a knee injury. And their backup left tackle, their starting right tackle, is also on the injury report with an elbow injury, all limited all week long. That's not great if you're the Jaguars. And then I don't even see. Oh, their backup right guard is also on injury report with a knee injury and limited all week. None of those things are really what you want to see when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of your offensive linemen listed as limited participants all week with 3 knee injuries, an ankle injury, and an elbow injury. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. They also have their backup running back, which is Bashal. Bashal was limited all week.
The guy that Dave Tobe
limited all week with a
about.
shoulder injury.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see Bashal too in the Chiefs jersey. I'll tell you that much right now. He's been having a pretty good year in the limited amount of snaps that they've given him. Obviously, Etienne's the number 1 guy there, but Bashal Tootin, I mean, he's obviously injured, a little bit injured, banged up this game, but he's looking like a pretty good.
You can also add De'Ami Brown is a starter, but also on the injury report all week with a limited participation with an injury. Shoulder as well. So their entire offensive line has some variety of lower leg issues other than their offensive tackle who has an elbow issue. And then their weapons have shoulder issues. And Brian Thomas has been largely ineffective already this year, which
he started the year with a little weird rut to him or something, just a little bit of weird
sophomore slumpish.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, sophomore slump.
You don't want to see him. I think the main thing is to not let him get right, and to make sure Travis Etienne doesn't cause you nightmares because your linebackers can't cover him in space.
Right. He is versatile in the pass game for sure. He will get you.
If they can't protect Trevor Lawrence, they're in trouble.
Yeah, and I think that there's a good opportunity for this defense to have kind of a statement game. Another one. I think they've been on kind of this after that Eagles game. I think they really, that's something I want. From a coaching's perspective, it's almost like there's because Steve Spagnuolo is who Steve Spagnuolo is. I think there's just such a like the level of accountability on the defensive side of the ball. It's very rare that we have like multiple games that are bad from any Spags unit, right? Um, which probably is why sometimes it feels like we can be so bipolar as a fan base with these Chiefs players, because it's like, week 2 we're over here like, man, people are like Chris Jones should be cut, and then it's like, yeah, not anymore.
Crazy.
There's they don't ever draft, whatever. He has his defensive philosophy, like, you can eventually outwork pieces of it, right? But things have to go really well. You have to be a very well oiled offense. But generally speaking, this unit performs like, I don't know. Some of the pieces on the board are not the best across the league, right? And they're always doing a really sound job. So I think that this will continue to be a statement game, an attitude kind of tone setting game for the defense to say, hey, you know what? Like, yeah, they've got the flashy, the flashy number 1 overall quarterback. They've got a Pro Bowl running back. Brian Thomas Jr. was a stud. They have the hot shot rookie who's supposedly, all this. And I would look at them to come in there and go, sorry, kids, this is still our league.
Yeah, it's not their time yet. I feel like just still not their time yet.
Well, so there's only really one injury for the Chiefs, and it popped up after Thursday, which is Omar Norman-Lott. He showed up with a shoulder issue. He didn't practice Friday, which not practicing Friday for Andy Reid is now he practiced Wednesday and Thursday, but not practicing Friday for Andy Reid is usually not a great sign. However, Andy did say that there seems like he'll be hopefully good to go for Sunday. Monday, whatever. Yeah, sorry. All my days are off. We're playing on the wrong day again.
Tom said Friday night earlier.
I know. That's what threw me off, because I said Sunday because I'm thinking 2 days from game day, and Tom said Friday earlier, so it's fine. No,
but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
The other thing to remember is this is a first-year coaching staff. Liam Cohen was an offensive coordinator. He's an offensive head coach, but it's his first year as the head coach as well. This is the first year for both of his coordinators. Udinsky was the Vikings assistant coordinator, offensive coordinator for like a couple of seasons, and Garrett already mentioned Campanelli, who was the running back or the linebackers and running game coordinator coach. And his last stop, this is first year coaches going against Steve Spagnuolo and Andy Reid. That's not ideal.
A mismatch. Yeah, that's a mismatch. I've ever seen one.
Also, Liam Cohen and Steve Spagnuolo know each other. They've seen each other a few times when Liam was in his previous stops. They're gonna have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I'm the only question I really have is how much Mike Dana finds his way back into the fray. He's supposedly good to go. I don't think he's even listed on the injury report for Friday or Saturday. Most of the guys that were on the injury report had no designation on Saturday. Even Christian Fulton, who had been limited the first 2 days, was good to go today. It looks like he's still listed as questionable. We talked about last episode. I don't know if he's got a job still with Noel Williams.
Probably not much. Probably more of a reserve guy at this point, because Noel is a dome.
But you don't really have this is a healthy Chiefs team for the most part.
Yeah.
And a healthy Chiefs defense against a first year, still getting used to the system offense that's had some ups and downs, that has a bunch of guys banged up. As long as they come out with an actual game plan and they don't do what they do with some of these games where they just kind of generify everything that they do, they should be able to really cause Jacksonville problems on both sides of the ball. This is not a deep Jaguars team. They don't have a ton of weapons. They don't have a ton of depth. There's questions being asked about the Prince. If you listen to Nick Wright, that's what he calls him. They should be able to go into Jacksonville and take a pretty comfortable game as long as they go in and execute their game plans. provided the game plans are actually game plans and not just, well, we could run some stuff.
let's just run some stuff. Nah, Matt Nagy's going to have a great game plan for us.
I'd like to see them
great game plan.
Generate some pressures. I'd like to see them do some simulated pressure stuff. See what how comfortable Trevor is, how much he's able to diagnose pre and post snap with what it's supposed to look like. There's ways to challenge this Jaguars team. If you can take away the running game and make Trevor Lawrence beat you while under pressure, it's going to be a long night for Jacksonville, I think. Like I said, Omar Norman-Lott is a question mark. He's been progressing quite well. I would really like to have him functioning on all cylinders. This is the third kind of nick, ding, scrape injury he's had. So that's not super great, but also he's a rookie, and the rookies go through the most grueling process.
This is a different thing as opposed to being another ankle.
Like every time it's a different thing, it seems like, which, again, like the rookies' bodies are, I know we're not at the rookie wall stage yet, technically, but I mean, they're more beat up than just about anybody else because of the schedule that they're on from the college season last year through the draft process, through the draft, immediately into rookie mini camps and OTAs and training camps.
Yeah, rookies don't get an off season. last year,
not
they
now.
didn't get an off season. They'll get an off season next year, but
they used to get off seasons. Not anymore. There's not really the way that the NFL has structured its calendar. It's very tough on rookies. Yeah. But that said, like I said, the Jaguars aren't very deep. They've got a bunch of rookies themselves scattered throughout this roster. They've got some key pieces that are banged up. Attack your mismatches, test that offensive line, test their physical ability, but also test them mentally. There's some guys on here that they're not world beaters. They're not elite players. They haven't proven themselves to be great. Like their starting offensive line goes Walker Little, Ezra Cleveland, Robert Hainsey, Patrick McCary, and Anton Harrison. There's a lot of the depth injuries. There's several injuries at the starters. You've got some ability. Now, their best pass catcher has been Brenton Strange, which is a little bit of a concern because he's a tight end.
Which is a little bit strange.
We don't do great with those.
Could you say it's a little bit strange that he's the number one pass catcher?
Well, it would be if not for Brian Thomas having the frustrating season he's had by his standards.
That does change. But it's strange.
It's just there's some room here to create some problems. I'm curious to see how they approach the Brian Thomas and Brenton Strange thing. If Diami Brown and God knows, I think Tim Patrick is on this roster. Yeah, he is. Like they only have 3 wide receivers listed on their or 3 wide receivers besides Travis Hunter listed on their depth chart, and the other 4, and the other one's Parker Washington. So if one of those guys not named Brian Thomas or Brenton Strange or Travis Hunter beats you, that's fine. Hell, even if Travis Hunter is the guy who beats you, like, okay, I guess. Like, again, they don't have a ton of depth, and they can't. There's not a lot of matchups you're super questioning. The main one being, how do you handle Travis Etienne, and what do you do with Brenton Strange? Because they've had an answer for wide receivers that are better than Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah.
I mean,
BTJ is really good.
And they've had an answer like that for years. And it's but he's not Jamar Chase. He's not.
No.
Insert.
And if he was Jamar Chase, it wouldn't matter because Trent would lock him down. Trent's locking them all down. It don't matter.
You have a secondary that you don't. I don't think going into this game you look around that weapon room from a pass catching standpoint when you're looking at the wide receivers versus your DBs and go, we can't play man to these guys. And Trevor isn't the same Trevor from Clemson where he's going to just get out and run and hurt you with his legs. He's not the same guy from that perspective because he's not a miles better athlete than the guys he's doing that to because this is the NFL, not Clemson, where
it's typically how a lot of
some of the ACC guys aren't quite the same thing. So you've got the ability to really put the screws to this Jaguars team if you put a game plan together and execute it. I'm my focus for this week is going to be the linebacking group against Brenton Strange and Travis Etienne. That's really where my concern lies, and where I think they could get touched up some. If they let them get rolling with the run game with Travis Etienne, it could look a lot like the Chargers game, where there's play action all the time, and you're getting beat by the tight end and the running back out of the backfield a lot. That's my main focus if I'm Spags.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. I think that basically covers it. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of a mystery or mystique around this. It's pretty straightforward. You know, you show up, you do your job, and we should pretty much overpower most of these guys and have a pretty good advantage on most fronts. The defensive line, I think we have a great advantage of. Our corners, I think we have a great matchup of. You know, ETN might be the one kind of wildcat factor that might end up keeping this game a little bit closer, just because our lack of great coverage linebackers. You know, Nick Bolton get out of there sometime, but that might be the main thing to look at is shutting down ETN, because when Trevor's not feeling it and when Trevor's not firing, it's usually just going to check down to ETN and having him make some space or something like that. So that's just something you got to look out for, I think.
I think to give him some credit, and I'm sure you guys talked about him, I know, earlier this week, but Leo Chenal,
true, he is a
is
coverage
a guy
guy.
who I think when you talk about that matchup with Brenton Strange, and Chenal's not the guy you want matched up with ETN in space, but he is a guy you want hitting ETN to just, again, that kind of that tone setting piece. I respect ETN. Really think he's a fun player. I'm again not too worried, just because this team typically plays running backs. They're going to make this team play left-handed, so they're going to take away BTJ. They're going to take away ETN. They're going to have a plan for Brenton Strange. The matchup I think I'll be very interested in seeing is probably going to be Noel Williams on Travis Hunter, which I think is how they'll probably parse that out, which will be really interesting to have the number 2, number 3 overall pick against a 4th round rookie. You know,
number
was he 2?
No, I'm saying what was Noel Williams though? What was
Noel Williams?
He
was 4th rounder, wasn't he?
One.
Al?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
4th rounder.
40.
Yeah, because Jalen was 5th.
Yeah, I figured you'd already have that on deck. He was actually a 3rd rounder, so 85 overall. We were close.
No,
but he was their 4th pick because they had 2 second rounders.
Right.
Yeah,
we traded up. Actually, I think for Noel, we were 95, trade up to 85.
Yeah, he's a dog.
There. He's a dog. He's
pretty
a dog.
good move.
Yeah,
for some reason I was thinking he was the 4th rounder, because that's usually when Brett takes corners, probably.
Yeah, that was
it was close.
Jalen Royals. That was 4th rounder.
That was it, because we thought they were going to take Jalen in the 3rd, and they took him in the 4th and took Noel in the 3rd instead.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Also, another rookie we didn't mention, Ashton Gelati, who got his first start last week. Expect him to have another great day. I think he's going to easily develop into being our number 2 edge rusher, you might say. So, I think we basically covered it all. Let's get to the fun. What?
Before we get to the score predictions, make sure you go over and see our friends at Underdog and use our Kingdom Says.
Yeah.
There's some promo stuff they're running right now. But I was just, while we were talking, I was simply looking through. Tyquan Thornton's higher lower is 14.5 yards. I'm going to go ahead and probably take the higher on that one.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce's higher or lower on receiving yards is 43.5.
Ooh.
It's not bad.
Probably going to take the over or the higher on that. I
apologize. For sure.
Xavier Worthy has 65.5 rushing and receiving yards as his higher or lower. Probably going to look that route. Travis Etienne has 75.5 rushing and receiving yards.
Lower.
I might take the higher on that, honestly, because I think it's going to be a lot of his
75 on us.
It's rushing and receiving. It's not pure rushing yards. It's rushing and receiving
a little bit. Guess what? No, it doesn't. I'm taking the lower still.
Patrick's passing touchdowns. The higher is now. It's not quite 1-1 on his passing touchdowns. The higher lower is currently at 1.5.
Higher.
Probably looking higher
He's
on
getting
that.
4, maybe 5. So yeah, I think he's hitting high.
So there's some options there. Brian Thomas is at 56.5. I don't love that. That's
Lower.
pretty much where I think that's probably going to be. But Brenton Strange is at 34.5, and I think I probably look higher on that too.
Yeah, higher on that one. Yeah, that was probably
so. There's plenty of things to put together a nice little piece. Like I said, if you're not a underdog user at this point, go over, use our code, sign up, get the bonuses.
Yeah, if you use our code right now, as Kingdom says, you get, if you play $5, you get $100 in bonus funds. All you got, use our code, play $5, you get $100 for free.
Yeah. That's not bad.
They're also, they're running promos all month of October. That's one of the things about Underdog. Listen, I've shared before, not always my my cup of tea. I've always worried about like, hey, I don't want to spend too much money or waste money, but there's so many opportunities to, take pretty like bets that you're or picks that you're confident in, and with the promo boost and all that stuff, like give it a shot.
It is Boosttober. There's all kinds of boosts
that's
all month of October, and it's not just NFL. I mean, UFC, baseball playoffs right now, college football's in full swing. There's all kinds of stuff on there. They also have all the like draft type stuff, like the fantasy drafts where you can do game drafts and do all kinds of stuff like that. So hop over to Underdog, check them out. You higher or lowers, fantasy drafts. They got boosts galore. Use the promo code, get yourself some free dollars. When you use a couple dollars of your own, you get a bunch of free dollars. So do that and say hi to our friends at Underdog.
Hell yeah, Code Kingdom says. All right, let's get to the best part of the show, the score predictions part. Score predictions. Chiefs are -3. They're favored in this game going in. The over-under is 46.5. So that's not too terribly high.
They went Chiefs from home dogs to road favorite.
Yeah. So it's a good sign. I think Vegas kind of knows. So what are we feeling? Who wants to go first on this one?
Not me.
Who wants to go first, or who will?
I'll go. You know what? I'll go first. This is a pretty straightforward one for me. I'm back in the rhythm of picking winners now after picking losers for the first 3 weeks. Picked a winner last week. We're picking a winner again. I think this is I don't want to say a very easy game because it's never usually very easy unless last week is the case once again. So it'd be nice to see a follow-up performance. For some reason, I almost feel more confident that the Jaguars will keep this game closer than what the Ravens did. Now it's Ravens are very banged up and they had some issues and all that. Jaguars aren't as banged up, although they do have a good amount. I mean, they're still not health injury free, you could say, but I feel like they'll keep it maybe just a little bit closer.
Just missing half the team.
Yeah. So I feel like they'll keep it closer for longer. I think it'll be a competitive game up until the fourth quarter potentially instead of halfway through the third like it was last week. I'm leaning like 27-17. We'll say. Not a crazy over resounding victory, but I think we'll do quite enough to keep the game intact for most of the time. Jaguars might get a couple good ones on there, get us a couple times. If there's one bet that I would probably hammer, Jacksonville to score on their first possession. Just seems like that's an automatic versus this Chiefs defense. They'll let you score the first time, get their bearings, let you get your first 15 out the way, and then you're getting locked down for the rest of the game. So they'll score maybe on the first drive, maybe one or two more times throughout the whole game, but I think this is a game that the Chiefs can very handedly show the whole world on prime time that they are still indeed the Chiefs.
So Garrett has the under with that prediction.
I do, yeah. Well,
Tom, you want me to go or you want to go?
You can go. I want to hear your take.
All right. Clockwise.
So I think Garrett and I are almost we are identical on how many points we think this defense is going up. Jacksonville 17 just feels correct. Whether it be turnovers, whether it be just not letting them move the ball as freely as they would like. I think they're going to score a little more than 27. I think this is going to be a 31-17 game. I think you're going to see several touchdowns and then maybe a little bit of, okay, we don't have to put the foot all the way to the pedal as we go down the stretch. It could be close at points just because of the way that sometimes Jaguars have been taking away the ball, and the Chiefs have a tendency to find ways to make games more interesting than they should, so that could factor in. But I think there's too much firepower and not enough firepower is kind of the way this game feels out for me. Provided you don't let one of a couple guys just absolutely destroy you from an offensive perspective for the Jaguars, there's just not a lot that makes me think this Jaguar. And if that defense is on the field a bunch for the Jags, it's going to become very difficult to corral this Chiefs offense. Who, yes, it was the Ravens defense who's been rough this year. They're a different dynamic with Xavier Worthy in this offense, and that's before they add their best wide receiver into the mix. He's obviously not back this week, but the progression and the marching forward seems to be on cue here. They seem to be gearing up correctly. It started with the Giants in the second half, especially continued all the way through the Ravens game, and now you're looking at a defense that I think you have some serious advantages over and can take advantage of in some areas. Give me the Chiefs 31-17. Just creep on over that over and cover comfortably. So,
Hell yeah. All right, Tom, what do you got for us?
I'm not too far off from you guys. I just feel like this is going to be one of those games where it's like a weird, like a score that you just don't see a lot. Like there's a safety or something mixed in. So that's why I'm like, I'm going to go.
Oddest
This is
combination
probably,
of score.
yeah, this probably isn't that weird of a score, but I'm going to go with Chiefs. Gert, what did you pick? Did you pick 20? What was your
27-17.
27? Okay. Because we're all really close. I'm like, because I was going to say 29. I feel like you don't see a lot of 29s. Maybe
Yeah.
So we'll say 29 to, I'm just picking, we're just playing the field here a little bit. 39 or 29-16. That's my
29-16. Okay.
29-16.
I could, 2 touchdowns, 2-point conversions from them, I guess. Yeah, could happen.
A touchdown and 2 field goals, right? 3 field goals? Am I bad at math?
Maybe 4 field goals.
A touchdown and 3 field goals.
3 field goals, 5 field goals. Some. They do got a good kicker over there. Cam Little, he made a 70-yarder in preseason.
Yeah.
Now it's just preseason, so it doesn't count. But still an absolute leg.
They're still only worth 3 points. So
still only worth 3 points. You're right. Same amount either way. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you play from the tips or the ladies' tees. Still worth. So, all right. Well, I think we basically covered it. I think we've got a good feel of the game. I think it should be a fun matchup. Monday Night Football in Jacksonville. Also, the uniform matchup is a crazy one. I mentioned the Chiefs white on white earlier. The Jags are wearing their throwback jerseys, the mid 2000s era ones that are really good. I mean, I think they're probably the best uniforms the Jags have right now. They're phenomenal.
You're talking about the old school like teal ones with the long Jaguar.
The teal one. They have the Jaguar on both shoulders, kind of the older school fonts. Like the I'm trying to think of the era of quarterback that played Brunell. Well, I think it might have been a little bit past Brunell, like Byron Leftwich,
and Gerard,
and Gerard, like that era. Maurice Jones-Drew had a lot of play in those jerseys. So solid uniform matchup. Should be a really fun time. Hopefully the Chiefs all wear the same colored socks. That's always just the big thing. Just everyone wears the same colored socks. Doesn't matter if it's white or red. Just wear the same colored ones. All right.
Pete was asked. Sweeney was asked earlier. It sounds like everybody's wearing white socks. So white on white on white.
We'll see. A lot of time they like to wear red. I don't know. It doesn't matter. They both look great. Just choose one and stick with it. All right. Tyreek would always piss me off because he would be the only one wearing the white socks. Everyone else would be wearing the red socks. It's like, just pick one. All right. Please just be a little consistent. So, all right. That's all we've got for you. We just barely made it over the minute mark by me talking about uniforms. So that's great. I love that. That's always a great way to go over the hour. So yeah, appreciate everyone for rocking with us tonight. on different Saturday night game. Obviously, a lot of college football going on and whatnot. So we appreciate everyone rocking with us tonight. Be sure to check us out at Kingdom Says Pod, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Check us out over on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts at. We will find you there. But definitely don't check us out on YouTube. You can see our beautiful faces. It supports us a little bit better if you watch us on YouTube. All that fun stuff. But either way, we appreciate your support. And we will see you next week after the game on a hopefully a very fun Victory Tuesday. Not Victory Monday, but hopefully it'll be Victory Tuesday. And we'll reset back to normal times maybe a little bit next week. So that's it. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in. We will see you guys on the next episode of The Kingdom Says.